I've been out harvesting macadamia nuts this morning. The trees are becoming productive. Yes. I haven't waited, but there's a lot of nuts in there, and there's still more out in the woods. I was running out of fruit in the kitchen this morning, so I made my way out into the woods and found this beauty rack of apple bananas. For some reason, the apple seems to grow so much better on a raised area between me and the neighbor over here than it does anywhere else on the farm. You get bigger stalks, bigger bananas, bigger bunches, the whole works. Well, and there's Gracie. She's been busy all morning out here. It was raining, raining. I don't know, we've probably got, I guess I'll look at the gauge, but pretty close to a foot of rain in the last 3 days. I know it was...
Gracie says, it was so much rain. Right, Gracie? It was so much rain, I get tired of it. I went out in the rain to hunt stuff. Yeah, she did.
My daylilies are popping again. Checking on my crops. They seem pretty good. The storm has pushed over some of the broccoli. It'll stand up. I see a little bit of slug damage, so I guess I'm going to have to bait out here. Well, over here, some of the smaller onions, I got plastered to the ground by the rain. Although the floppy purple broccoli, that's Purple Magic, stood up pretty good to it. Most of them are actually a little bit stiffer looking than they were in the nursery in the 6-packs. But I can see that the chicken manure I put down, it's just turned into a puddle. With that much rain, these crops over here are going to need to be top dressed again if I want to see them continue that kind of growth. Yeah, rain washes out all the nutrients. What's in the rosemary, Gracie, huh? Oh, is that a good spot? I guess Gracie's finding a good spot over here. What you burying? Trying to bury the rosemary? That's odd, you know. Very strange behavior, Gracie. Alright. Yeah. Oh, here she comes. You know, and otherwise, I did a video recently about this could be the season of a rat, and my neighbor Greg over here, he came by and he says, "Yeah, I got him in my attic." Oh, that's not a good place to have them. Let me tell you, that's happened to me once before. Yeah, and so you want to take care of that. Then I had another viewer ask me about pigs. He's new here on the island. He's seeing a pig, sow, running through the yard. Wondering what he should do about it. Well, there's only 3 things you can do with pigs. You can harvest them, and that's done with traps, buck knives, pellet guns, rifles. Okay, there's numerous different ways that pigs are harvested here. Dogs. They're pretty much, as far as I know, they're pretty much all legal. As long as it's a $5 permit. I believe the county wants you to buy a $5 permit for doing this. Last I checked, anyway. Well, yeah, you can do that. You can build good fences. That's really the solution. Okay, good fences. If they're built properly and well maintained, and I have videos on building good fences for pigs here in the site if anybody needs it. Definitely go with a double strand of barbed wire like the Australians do at the bottom of the fence. That really helps. Well, then your third option with pigs, give up don't plant much, at least not much that they might want. Or when it comes to worms, if you have leaf mulch, litter, anything like that on the ground, there's worms under it, and they're going to be looking for it. So even if they don't like your anthuriums or your ground orchids, they will rip them out in the process of trying to find worms. On the other hand, they love sweet potatoes. Oh boy, that calls them right in. There are a few other crops that'll do the same thing. Yeah, so, like I said, Hawaii 101, or wherever you were at, it's a good possibility you didn't have herds of pigs, although they exist in other places in the mainland too. Well, when I used to hike in the hills over Sonol in the Bay Area of California, oh, the pig marks, oh, a lot of pigs back there. But it was in regional park, and I don't know, people didn't live back there. Anyhow, well, then I got another email from another guy who's been here for a while and has come from the Midwest, apparently Chicago, and has settled himself down over here. Well, he's having terrible problems. He's complaining to me about the rats. As I said, hey, it's probably the year of the rat. It's a constant problem here. Yeah, the rats have eaten his Dodge Ram pickup. If I recall correctly, I think $7,000 worth of damage, I'm pretty sure, is what he said. They chewed up the wiring, and rats will chew all kinds of things. Now, I've had that happen once before with, and in fact, it was a Chrysler product, too. It's a PT Cruiser that we would leave here. Sometimes it's 6 months at a time on the island, locked up in the carport, but didn't matter. In my case, what happened is the rats went into the engine compartment from underneath. They chewed through the box for the heater, and then a rat went in and had babies, actually, under my dashboard. It was miserable. It took me quite a while to get them out, and once I finally did, then it took even longer to get the stink out of the car. Well, I've never had this happen to me when a vehicle is being used frequently. Now, vehicles that get used often don't generally get rats in them because they're moving around too much. The thing has to be still for a while for them to do their work to get inside, because they usually gnaw their way in. But if you're firing it up, every day or two and going to the post office or something, that'll chase them off usually, and they don't get started. Although, no matter where you are here on this island, keep your eyes out for rats. I tell friends and neighbors, they say, oh no, we don't have rats. I said, do you bait for them? Because if you do, or if you put out glue boards or something to indicate, you'll see. If you become very astute at rats, you see the tiniest little marks. Oftentimes you will know they're out there. I grow fruit, I see a tangelo in the tree. It's got a hole eaten through it. The rats are back. They come in cycles, and around here it can be 2 of them a year even. They seem to rise and fall. I'll get months with no trouble. I just relax, but I always leave a certain amount of bait in bait stations out in my orange trees or someplace like that, because they'll show up, and if I'm not watching, they'll get going and they'll build up a population. I just had an issue with starting seeds under light in my shed. I didn't really have a big problem before I did that. As soon as I did that, wham, oh man, I had rodents. They took off 20 bars of rat bait. They really did. They picked them up, carried them someplace. I do believe the neighbor's attic, because nobody is a rental and nobody controls rodents over there. The owner in California, I've talked to him about it. It's oblivious to the problem. That's So what I usually use is this. This is 2.5-inch PVC pipe. I have a short length of the pipe right here, a cap on one end, and a slip tee on the other. And what this does is it allows me to pop the cap off, put rat bait bars in here, put the cap back on, and lay this thing down. And I can put it, I tie it to a tree limb a lot of times. It's typical because they'll be feeding on my fruit trees. But I got one of these sitting in every shed around here. There's one loaded in the carport. There's one loaded on the porch. And if rats begin to show up, you'll see they begin to feed on the bait. At that point, you best get busy doing something about it, And, whether you're going to go down to the animal shelter and get yourself 20 feral cats, spayed and neutered, I hope, or, you're going to start putting out glue boards. They're kind of messy. Or you're going to use rat traps. They work pretty well, especially with peanut butter. They like peanut butter a lot. That usually will draw them in. And if they keep springing, it's not rats, it's mice. They get better use a smaller trap. But if you got cats around, it's not a very good idea. I mean, the mouse traps aren't terribly powerful. It probably wouldn't hurt cats much, but the rat traps, oh man, I completely blackened a thumb and almost broke it with one of those before. So if you got cats, I definitely would not be using the rat traps unless you have them somehow set in such a way that the cats cannot get to. Well, we had the same guy with the rats ate his truck. He's complaining about how, like it was worthwhile raising chickens. Well, I guess from what it sounds like, I didn't get details, but it sounds like he was starting this project up to make money. Well, yes, it is possible to make money on chicken eggs. Particularly if you have a source for feed other than from the feed mill, like if you got connections at several restaurants and you can get their, food waste and you can feed your chickens with it, and if there's things you can grow on your farm to feed your chickens, because here the highest cost is chicken feed. We have to import it all. It all comes from off island someplace. It's never cheap anywhere. Anyway, when people say, oh, that's just chicken feed, it's getting to be pretty serious these days. Yeah, so I see chickens personally, for most of us who live here on the island, as being an integrated farm crop. That the chickens, the hens produce eggs. Most of us love eggs, and they have been fairly expensive for quite a while now. The roosters, every time one of them goes, we got barbecue or soup. Yeah, roosters ain't good for too much, past having maybe one around, keep the flock in order. But other than that, there's not much value in having roosters, and so they're pretty tasty, but you got to get them young. Yeah, if they get stringy and tough, and you can't even hardly boil them down to soup after a while. So it's first crow. Yeah, take them out. Well, and then otherwise, the birds produce really large quantities of very high quality fertilizer. Chicken manure is top-notch stuff. I definitely recommend it as a plant fertilizer, an organic one. And you can take, your kitchen garbage or any kind of waste and convert it to fertilizer via your chickens. It really beats composting. Yeah, there won't be any rats accumulated or anything in the heap. The chickens just take it, gobble it all up, and turn it all into chicken poo. And then I have used them myself in the past as orgatillers, for preparing sites for planting. If you stake out some chicken wire around an area for the coming vegetable garden, run the hens into it and let them loaf in there for, most of the year. By the time we get to the other end of the year, you're going to have mostly dead ground with a lot of manure. And boy, they're great at that. They'll eat every bug that's out there, anything crawling around. They'll get it. And so they clean up weed seeds. They do a real good job of preparing ground. So as an integrated farm crop, I think chickens are outstanding. I don't know if there's anything better. Honestly, that's fabulous critter. Yeah, top notch. And they're a great feed conversion too. Fish are better as far as, how many pounds of food does a fish eat to make how many pounds of fish. But chickens are almost there. Yeah, just that the fish don't have to support their weight. They float. So, but if you're here on this island and you think you're going to try to make money off of eggs, I think it had better be an awfully large operation, and you better really think about, what you're doing there. Eggs are abundant. That's the point. And so are chickens here. But eggs are abundant. I don't raise chickens anymore. The reason I don't is that my neighbor's got chickens, and so I'm not going to bother with it. Okay, I got other ways of preparing ground, so I don't necessarily need that. Stutzman Egg Ranch in Oregon produces very high quality chicken manure, pelletized dry in 50-pound sacks. It's the cheapest organic fertilizer you can buy here on the island, and it's very easy to use. So the need to have to shovel my own chicken poo around, I'm getting old. I'd rather throw pellets. It's less trouble. It's less work. So I don't raise chickens. I trade stuff that I have here, be it fruit or vegetables or plants, with the neighbors who do raise chickens and usually have too many eggs. And so it's a good thing. And this, again, if you're trying to raise eggs commercially, there's probably an awful lot of us that do that sort of thing here. Barter's common, I don't need to worry about getting my eggs at the supermarket. That's what's going on today. Watch out for the rats. Now, you're going to meet them. Even if you don't think they're there, you're going to meet them. Be ready for them. And, Hawaii's no exception. In my mind, California's Bay Area, it was easily as bad or worse. Maybe various reasons. I think the container ships that would come into the port of Oakland from all over the planet, I think the rats jump ship off those things every time they come in. My personal opinion on it. That, and it's a very dense, urbanized area with a lot of trash. Rats love trash. Yeah, the volume of rats that can feed on a single McDonald's dumpster is, beyond belief. And most of the people that I met while working in the Bay Area were in denial. They didn't realize they had rats. They refused to believe they had rats. I have Lord stories about that stuff. Yeah. Yet they had rats. Lots of rats. But they're sneaky, unless you're very aware. You probably won't notice them until they start to eat your truck. Hang loose. Aloha, folks.